Sometimes we're faced with a challenge that asks a little more from us, something that requires the power of community, and right now is one of those times. Monadnock Humane Society has been helping the animals and people of our community since 1875. We've overcome a lot of challenges in our 145-year history, and we've done it with the help of friends like you. Animals bring out the best in us. They bring us joy. Our pets give us love and comfort, especially in tough times. And that's why MHS will always care for animals in need and the people who love and depend on them. You can help MHS today. You have the power of compassion, and it gives us hope. You have the power of connection, and that gives us strength. And we have the power of community, and that helps all of us make a difference. This is one of those challenging times. With the help of friends like you, MHS can continue our life-saving work and give hope and a second chance to countless animals who need us. Kindness isn't canceled. Please donate today and make a difference, because you make MHS possible. Thank you.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Hair Ball at Home, sponsored by the Monadnock Humane Society. I'm Sean McDonald with WMUR-TV and New Hampshire Chronicle. I'm delighted that you're here, and I am delighted to be able to help out with this wonderful organization that does so many nice things for animals in need in Southwest New Hampshire. Now let's toss things over to Wes Ratchford. He is the MHS Board of Directors chairperson for some opening remarks.
Thanks, Sean. As Sean said, I'm Wes Ratchford, MHS Board Chair, and I want to welcome all of you to the 18th Annual Hair Ball. This is a really special year, and this year it's the Hair Ball at Home. So I want to thank you for joining us, and welcome to my home. I'd like you to meet one of our rescue dogs, Honey. She's an amazing girl. Honey, you want to say hello? Speak. Good girl. Would you like a cookie? Come here. Get that cookie. Yes, that's a good girl. Can you say hello to everyone? Say hello. Good girl, babe. Yes, thank you. I want to give a big shout out to Duke Champney. He's one of MHS's great trainers, and he helped Honey with her obedience and manners. We also have another rescue dog, Maddie, and 4 rescue cats, Jack, Ranger, Kona, and Brady. Listen, we've all been through a lot lately. Everyone's been impacted by this, and we've all had to make adjustments, and MHS is no different. But even if we need to keep some physical distance, we can still come together as much as possible in other ways. So we really appreciate that you're here with us tonight. I want to thank you for your support of MHS and for all of the animals who need our help. We have a great program in store for you, and first I have some people I'd like to recognize who've done so much to make this hairball possible. A big thank you to all of our hairball sponsors, and a special note of thanks to our platinum sponsors, Savings Bank of Walpole, John and Val Starbuck, Linda Gwinnane, and my family, the Ratchford family. Our gold sponsor is Mascoma Bank, and our silver sponsors are Fenton Family Dealerships, Pam and Ken Walton, D'Alessio and Associates, Ann and Bob Wilkins, Christine and Thomas Doan, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. Thank you all so much for your outstanding support. You know, we started working on this hairball many months ago, like we always do, because it takes a lot of time and coordination to put an event like this together. And when it became apparent that COVID-19 was going to have such an impact on everyone, the Hairball Committee quickly changed course and managed to turn this into a virtual event, something we've never done before. And I'm really proud and very grateful for all the people on our committee who've done such an amazing job and have made this possible. First, I'd like to say hello to my Hairball co-chair, Sharon Ratchford. This is our 3rd year chairing this event together, and Sharon's love for MHS and for all animals in need just comes through in everything she does. So Sharon, please say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you. I also want to thank everybody on our Hairball Committee for their amazing work and their dedication and just tireless efforts to make all of this possible. First, our community members, and they are Lindsay Carter, Roma Holmes, and Heather Samparisi. Our board members are Dan Dodge, Susan Peterson, Ryan Reed, Lee Rigby, and Bob Shaman. And our MHS staff, Lisa Beckwith, Kathy Collinsworth, Carol Loeffner, and Kelly Steiner. Please give each and every one of them a big round of virtual applause. They've certainly earned it, and they deserve it. I'd also like to thank the rest of our board and our volunteers and all of our amazing staff, because their hard work means that animals in need can finally have a home and a family that loves them. And they continue to inspire me, and I'm sure all of you, by the work that they do. So, here we go. If you've got some snacks and maybe a drink, get ready for a really enjoyable evening. We're going to share some great animal success stories, and we're going to be joined by local celebrities who are also MHS supporters. And we've got a Fund a Need segment that you're going to love. It highlights some special programs that really need your help. So remember, please, every dollar we raise supports our mission to help animals in need. So I thank you again for helping to make this hairball really special. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Executive Director, Kathy Collinsworth.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to echo Wes's gratitude related to the sponsorships that wouldn't be possible. This event is so successful because of our sponsors, as well as the volunteers that put so much work into a virtual event for the first time. But I would be remiss if I didn't give a huge shout out to Wes and Sharon, who have once again given their hearts and souls to this event for the sake of the animals. So thank you so much, Wes and Sharon. I'm going to flip this around, give you a little bit of a tour again, give you a sense of where we are with the shelter. Again, very small animal populations, but I have a couple of cute stories to share with you. One is related to our husky, Sky. Hi, Sky. Hi, pretty girl. Hi. Hi, sweetie. Sky is actually going to be going home soon. She is recovering from her surgery. And then you may remember earlier I was in another video that included Felix. Felix has been our big giant macaw who's been with us for a little too long, but he's an interesting bird, and it took some time to find just the right animal. I mean, right home. There's a little blip. He's got his little music box going in here. His life is brilliant. I didn't even plan that. I didn't even cue that up. So he's going home, actually today. So that's super exciting to us. And then I want to take you towards our training center. Rachel has started up her private lessons this week, so she's been booked pretty solidly. And speaking of the training center, our next video is very exciting. Amy Abel, one of our trainers, also from Abel Dog Training, has done many musical freestyle classes in here. But during the COVID and during the shutdown, she has worked to keep her community together through Zoom. And I want you to check out what's next, which is a flash dance from Amy and her friends.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. Your
Speaking as a local Peterborough resident, I can tell you how much I appreciate the work that the Monadnock Humane Society does. This is Ray Brewer from WMUR, hoping that you're enjoying the annual, this year, Hair Ball at Home, and have fun, and please consider making a donation.
We have a very special guest this evening, Cy Montgomery. Many of you may know Cy. She's a best-selling author and naturalist. She has a wonderfully unique understanding of the relationship between animals and people. Cy?
Our connection with animals is essential to staying whole on this earth. I cherish my many friendships with other species as much as those with my human friends. Animals have so much to teach us. They experience the world in ways we cannot comprehend. Loving an animal enlarges our soul. It tethers us more tightly to our sweet green earth. It makes us better citizens of our planet. It expands our capacity for compassion. And this is what makes the work of Monadnock Humane Society so important. Every animal deserves kindness and respect. Every animal loves his or her life just as much as we love ours. MHS recognizes that and helps animals who've been failed in one way or another. Then they enlarge that circle of compassion to connect these animals to the people who provide the forever homes that these animals so richly deserve.
Next up is a video from Cy, where she tells the story of her dog, Thurber, from her book, How to Be a Good Creature. It illustrates how deeply she embraces the special nature of the animal-human bond.
The story is told in How to Be a Good Creature of how we got our puppy. At the time, things were very bleak. But then we learned a neighbor's border collie had pups, and one of them had a blind eye. We named him Thurber. Since the moment we brought him home, Thurber has been the most eager, outgoing, happy creature we have ever known. Just looking at him makes people smile. Howard calls him a trail rocket, but he always turns and waits for us to catch up. He invariably comes or waits when we call. He trusts that something good is always about to happen, because it's true. For Thurber, pretty much every moment is fun. Indoors, he loves to play with his toys. When he grabs and squeaks his hedgehog or his shark, one of his stuffed lambs or snakes or octopuses, or his elephant or his dragon or his duck or his hippo or his crab, we can seldom resist playing pull and chase. But if we're busy, he plays by himself, making up games in which one of his toys comes alive and he must either herd or attack it. He rolls several balls at once around the floor and chases them, sometimes herding as many as 3 at a time. In the woods, he selects enormous, usually forked sticks, down saplings, sometimes longer than 8 feet, and drags or carries them along the trail to impress his companions. He is so happy that he sings. He howls to the radio in the morning. In the car on our way to our outings, he and I howl together to his favorite CDs. Everyone loves Thurber, and Thurber loves everyone. He has tons of friends, both canine and human. I often forget Thurber has a blind eye. There's almost nothing he can't do. He's fast and agile and smart, and as far as we're concerned, he's perfect and he's whole. Every once in a while, I catch sight of his blind eye in a certain light, and I remember he has one good eye and one blessed eye, the blessed eye that brought him to us.
Remember, pets are the gateway drug that hook people on respect for all life. Our animals have so much to teach us, and one of those things is how to be a good creature. Thank you all for supporting the Monadnock Humane Society and upholding the reverence and respect for all sentient beings with whom we share this glorious but fragile world.
These are truly wonderful words to live by. Thank you, Cy.
The role of executive director for the Monadnock Humane Society is a busy one, as you know. Kathy Collingsworth is one who truly epitomizes the Society's promise to honor and respect that wonderful relationship between pets and pet owners, as you know. As executive director, which is a full-time role, Kathy oversees the operations of a large staff of professionals and volunteers, of course. A big thank you to our volunteers. Over the past year, they've worked with over 1,600 animals in need to provide a menu of services. Let's check in with Bob Shaman, a 4-year veteran of the MHS Board of Directors, as he interviews Kathy.
Hello, Kathy, and I see you've got one of your 2 favorite pooches with you.
Yeah, this is Hunter. Hunter came to us through that lab cruelty case where we took in over 53 animals and navigated the whole court system and everything. But now he's, all the labs are in their happy homes and he's in ours.
Well, he's a good-looking dog, and glad you could have him join us tonight. My 2 dogs are sleeping behind me. I'm not going to pan the camera down, but Shelby and Murphy are having a great time cutting some Z's, as they say, sleeping. Anyway, glad you could join us tonight. We've got some questions from our supporters, and the first question I wanted to ask you was about the Animal Safety Net. Sounds like a great program, and what are some of the services that the Animal Safety Net provides, and how would you qualify someone for this program?
Yeah, so the Animal Safety Net program we started just 3 years ago, and this was in response to some staggering data related to the number of people who were trying to flee domestic violence. And honestly, we're in a difficult situation because the local shelters would not allow dogs in with the people. And so we started it through that. And then we also quickly learned that both homelessness and people navigating drug addiction were also in need of us boarding the animals for free and providing medical care if necessary until they could be reunited. And certainly during these times with COVID, we have also been very available to help people if they are in a lengthy hospital stay or anything of that nature. We're happy to provide all of that care for their animals so that they can be reunited with their family.
And this is a great program and one that's supported by everyone out there at the Hair Ball at Home tonight. Well, we received an interesting letter from a supporter, and the supporter says, I'm looking for a family pet, maybe a new dog or cat, but sometimes when I visit the shelter, there aren't that many animals from which to choose. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, so the animal populations in the Northeast have changed significantly, which is actually a positive thing. We've done really well with overpopulation, and especially through our low-cost spay-neuter clinics where people, we don't have the same populations locally. And so we are very excited to be able to have animals transported in from those high population areas across the U.S. And we have both canine and feline and small animal coordinators who do behavior assessments and really try to provide the right match for both the animal and the family. And we do feel like we do an outstanding job with that and are very proud of that particular part of our services.
Certainly should be. What many people may not be aware of is the fact that last year we had over 1,600 animals that came through the Monadnock Humane Society. A very high percentage of them obviously have forever homes, in which we're delighted. So again, that's part of where these dollars go to help support your Humane Society. One other question received was, well, what kind of veterinary or medical care does the Monadnock Humane Society provide? And do we offer these services to the public?
Yeah, so we have a veterinarian on staff, and Michelle is amazing, Michelle Martino, and she works with us 3 days a week. And by law, we are not allowed to provide veterinary care for owned animals, just for our own shelter animals. But we are, by law, able to provide, as I mentioned, those low-cost spay-neuter clinics. But we provide all the medical care necessary for our shelter animals. And when it gets a little more complex, we certainly outsource to our local vets who are very supportive, provide nice discounts to us. And, usually when they have more complex issues where we don't have the equipment, really more than anything, we have the expertise, but we don't have all of the equipment necessary for some of the issues that the animals might be facing.
Well, these type of services, all the more reason to support the Hair Ball at Home program. All these dollars go for such good use for different animals. I know Hunter benefited from this a few years ago when we claimed Hunter along with over 50 other dogs and one cat too. So we're going to be seeing the Fund a Need coming up. Your support, of course, is very essential. So Kathy, thanks for being with us this evening. And Hunter, likewise, you've been a very good dog. And with that, cheers.
Cheers.
At Tito's Handmade Vodka, dogs have been part of our story for over 20 years. Since we started, strays have been wandering up to the distillery. We feed them, get them healthy, and someone here always falls in love and brings them home. They chose us early on, so we were naturally inspired to help them in every way we can. We're vodka for dog people. Our program is built on over 800 annual animal-related nonprofit partnerships, events, and campaigns. Each one shares the goal to better lives of pets and their families far and wide. We support other companies' efforts to create dog-friendly work environments like ours. And 100% of the net proceeds from dog swag sold on our web store benefit Emancipet's affordable veterinary services at their ever-expanding system of clinics. There's always dogs around at Tito's. We wouldn't know what to do without them.
Hi again, Ray Brewer from WMUR, and up next, perhaps the moment that we've all been waiting for, as Kathy and Wes are going to conduct the Monadnock Humane Society's Fund a Need portion of tonight's virtual event. A chance to dig deep and support many of the worthwhile programs and services they offer, things like the Animal Safety Net, the Pet Food Pantry, low-cost spay and neutering, and emergency housing and sheltering for surrenders and strays, and there's the anti-cruelty program as well. So I want to encourage you to dig deep and, most of all, have some fun.
Okay, I'm here with Kathy, and now we're going to kick off our Fund a Need segment. Okay, this is a really exciting portion of the Hair Ball at Home, and I hope you'll all join us in helping fund some of the really important programs that we're going to be talking about. Now, remember, all donations to these programs are really critical to the life-saving operations of MHS. So let's talk about these. We've got 4 programs that need your support. First is the Animal Safety Net. Next, we have the Extraordinary Animal Veterinary Care Program. Next, we have Operation No Pet Left Behind. And we also have our new Anti-Cruelty Fund. So first, let's talk about the Animal Safety Net. Now, that's a service that's really vital in our community. The way it works is MHS provides free boarding and medical care for the pets of community members who may be in need. They may be fleeing domestic violence, they might be homeless, or they might be needing to go into a drug or a mental health or a medical treatment program. So I'm going to ask Kathy to talk about all of that in more detail. But before we do that, we have a challenge for everyone watching. All right, you can double your impact here. So Thomas and Christine Doan and another longtime MHS donor, Linda Grenane, are challenging all of you watching to raise $5,500 for the Animal Safety Net. And if you can do that, these kind donors are going to contribute another $5,500. So that'll match your donation dollar for dollar. And if we can do that, that's going to be $11,000 for this amazing program. And it's really, really vital. So please, again, go to your donate button and reach deep if you can. And please support this wonderful program. So I'm going to ask Kathy to talk a little bit more about the ASN.
Absolutely, Wes. This is a program we're really, really proud of. We started it about 3 years ago when we were reading some staggering statistics related to the number of people who would not leave an abusive situation because the local domestic violence shelters do not care for, are not able to care for animals as well. And so we saw that need, but we quickly realized, certainly in the Monadnock region, the reality of homelessness and drug addiction, people needing to go into treatment, and even people needing lengthy hospital stays, that we wanted to be able to reunite them with their animals. So we would provide that free board and medical care until they could be reunited. And we've handled dozens of these so far, and it's been really heartwarming. And I would love for Emily to share a brief story about somebody she met in our lobby at Monadnock Humane Society.
Eleanor is an elderly member of our community who recently fell on hard times and was losing her home. With the death of her longtime husband just 4 months prior, she depended upon the companionship of her dog Daisy, who was adopted from MHS 9 years ago. With nowhere to turn, Eleanor found herself at the doorsteps of MHS. She was so distraught at the thought of having to surrender her beloved dog that it physically took its toll. Eleanor collapsed in the parking lot of MHS, not even able to make it through the front door. Luckily, a volunteer was nearby who came to her rescue and assisted her into the building. With the paramedics on the way, the staff tended to her physical and emotional bruises. Daisy was retrieved from the car and placed in Eleanor's lap while help arrived. Eleanor was disoriented, but relief was evident on her face when we told her that the Animal Safety Net program was going to bring them together again. Daisy would stay at MHS at no cost while she was able to find suitable housing for the both of them. As Eleanor was loaded into the ambulance, the tears of relief streamed down her face. Her hospital stay was short, and three short weeks later, Eleanor and Daisy were reunited together again.
That is such a touching and heartwarming story, and I'm so grateful that Emily was there and that we were able to have that positive outcome. And I just wish them the best. I want to thank everyone for supporting the Animal Safety Net. And as you heard, it's really a critical program that offers so much support for the people and the animals in our community who really need it. Next, I want to talk a little bit about our Fund a Need program, and that's Extraordinary Medical Veterinary Care Program. And here's another heartwarming story about how the MHS medical and veterinary team and another local veterinarian made a life-saving difference for a small dog named Ryu. And here's Ryu's story.
Ryu, a 5-month-old puppy, found trouble just a little too well and managed to fracture her hind leg. Her owners could not afford the expensive surgery needed to repair her severe injury, so they made the difficult decision to surrender her to MHS. MHS worked with the Cheshire Animal Hospital to perform the complex surgery on Ryu's leg. It required resetting her leg bones and securing them with pins and screws. And then there was a second surgery to remove the hardware after her bones had healed. Through her recovery, Ryu was lovingly cared for by dedicated foster parents who soon decided to adopt her because she became such a big part of their family. Ryu is now fully recovered and she is living the life all of our four-legged friends deserve. She is a happy, healthy dog who found her forever home through the services of MHS. This story has a happy ending because of the extraordinary medical care she received.
That is such a great story, and I just couldn't be happier for her and her family. That's fantastic. We wish them the best. So I've got some really exciting news for two important parts of this Fund a Need program. We have an anonymous donor who is a longtime supporter of MHS, who is going to match dollar for dollar up to $5,000 for the Jezebel Fund. Now, the Jezebel Fund is a fund for dogs at MHS who need specialized medical care. If we can do that, that's going to be $10,000 for this fund, okay? And we also have another longtime MHS donor who's going to challenge you to raise $1,000 for the Madden Fund for cats, and that's for cats who need specialized medical care. Now, if we can do that, they're going to match your donation dollar for dollar, and that would be $2,000 for cats. So please take advantage of this generous offer and make your donation count twice. All right, so I'm going to ask Kathy now to tell us a little bit more about this particular fund.
Absolutely. You know, these challenges, the generosity of these donors is really moving. It's so incredible. So I want to say thank you first. But certainly the medical services that we provide are some of the most important aspects of our work, Wes. And I just want to share a little bit more about the history behind these funds. The Jezebel Fund was started by a longtime volunteer who has adopted many special needs dogs over the years from MHS. And she's always been inspired by how with the proper medical attention and tender care, these dogs can become loving members of their family. And if it hadn't been for the expertise and compassion shown by the medical and shelter staff and the funding for their specialized care, their outcomes unfortunately would have been very different. And this Jezebel Fund honors the lives of 3 special dogs, Jazzy, Zeus, and Bella. And right now, I would like to feature Zeus's story.
Zeus came to the Monadnock Humane Society as a stray, emaciated and with several wounds. Because Zeus was so malnourished, the medical and shelter staff had to be extremely careful feeding him. The staff wanted to prevent a condition known as refeeding syndrome, where the dog's body can be shocked when starting to eat again after a long period of starvation. It can cause organ malfunctions or other serious conditions. Returning Zeus to a healthy body weight took time and careful monitoring, which the medical and shelter staff were able to provide for him. In total, Zeus was placed on quarantine for 4 months due to his wounds, but was able to be placed into foster care after about 1 month when he reached a healthier weight. Zeus's story has a happy ending because after his quarantine ended, Zeus found his own Mount Olympus home and was adopted by his loving foster family.
So
That's a great story.
Yeah, and
that's a great story. And Zeus is such an awesome dog. I remember when he was at MHS, I had an opportunity to walk him a few times, and he was just so friendly.
I was just going to say, I certainly remember Zeus, and he couldn't have found a better forever home. And so now I'd like to talk about the Madden Fund for Cats. The Madden Fund was started in 2014 when a devoted volunteer who's been caring for our feline population daily for over 14 years, her name is Mary, she wanted to make a difference for the cats who were surrendered when they developed costly medical problems. And she wanted to honor the life of her precious cat, Madden, who got his second chance when she adopted him from MHS. And after he passed away, she worked with us to create the Madden Fund to honor his life. And since then, there's been well over 100 cats' lives that have been saved by this fund. And now I'd like to share a cat photo montage of a number of the cats who have been impacted and saved because of the Madden Fund.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's always amazing to put a face to the stories we have about the lives that we've saved. And we also have general needs, keeping our vet clinic up to date with the proper equipment, supplies, specialized surgical tools, and certainly our community programs such as the low-cost spay-neuter clinic, low-cost rabies and vaccination microchips clinics. You know, there are people who struggle financially with this ongoing necessary care. And for us to be able to provide that at low cost is really important. And every once in a while, we have a highly specialized intense surgery of an animal that we have to outsource to a private practice, and that can be very costly. So having this fund set aside for that very reason certainly is life-saving for many, many animals. So thank you for anybody tonight who's able to contribute to this fund.
Absolutely. And I'm just looking over here and I can see the thermometer going up, and we've got some money coming in. So I want to thank everybody out there for the donations that they've already made, and please keep it coming. We're doing really great. So I want to thank everyone again for supporting the important medical work that we do. As you heard, it's really vital. Next, Kathy's going to be telling us a little bit about Operation No Pet Left Behind. And this is yet another program that MHS offers that saves animal lives. So we have another challenge for this, okay? You can double your impact again. Thomas and Christine Doan and another longtime MHS donor, all right, are going to challenge all of you watching to raise $5,500 for Operation No Pet Left Behind. So if we can do that, These kind donors are going to contribute another $5,500, and that's matching your donations dollar for dollar. If we can do that, that's going to be $11,000 for this program. All right, that's incredible. So please go to your donate button, reach deep if you can, and please support this program. And Kathy, can you tell us a little bit about Operation No Pet Left Behind?
Absolutely. You know, these match challenges are blowing me away. I just couldn't be more grateful for the generosity. It's just incredible. Yeah, so, you know, pets come to us from all different sources. We have our local stray surrender population, and we also transport animals from the south where there are really high population issues and sometimes high euthanasia rates. So to really be able to give those animals a second chance is always great, and we do that on a regular basis. And with the Operation No Pet Left Behind, these animals sometimes can come to us with complex medical or behavioral needs and thus have to stay with us a bit longer. And so we have a couple of different options for them. Certainly if they stay in the shelter to be able to receive that specialized behavioral and medical care, we have a great number of volunteers that take the dogs downtown across the region, put Adopt Me vests on them, and really get them out to get the exposure that they need versus relying on the next person to walk into the shelter. So that has really been successful. People have literally met their new family member on the sidewalks in our region and have been adopted. And certainly in the case where they do need to stay with us for a longer period of time, our foster family program is life-saving. Certainly during the COVID situation where they took in close to 70 animals to clear the shelters to reduce, contact to keep our staff safe. That was really amazing. And they're still in some of them are still in foster care, and some have actually been adopted virtually, and that's also wonderful. But we had a local story related to some Chihuahuas that were surrendered to us, and they were very shy and had some behavioral issues and needed some socialization, and they went into foster care. And I have a wonderful story right now to share with you about Dory, one of the Chihuahuas.
Meet Miss Dory. She came to Monadnock Humane Society as a result of an animal hoarding case. Luckily for Dory, MHS partners with law enforcement to rescue pets from animal cruelty situations. When COVID-19 struck, a longtime volunteer at MHS agreed to foster Dory. Dory was completely shut down when she left the shelter. She hid in the back of her crate, shaking nonstop. She was terrified of noise, movement, and human touch. After weeks of unconditional love, Dory learned to trust her foster mom. They began to cuddle and nap together. They went on walks and car rides. When Dory finally started playing with toys, it brought her foster mom to tears. Dory's brave, spunky, wonderful personality was finally shining through. Dory's foster mom shared her story with a coworker who fell in love with Dory too and agreed to adopt her. Dory will now spend her days giving and receiving more love than she ever imagined. Dory is truly a foster success.
That is such a great story and a great outcome. And, it wouldn't have been possible without Dory's foster family. So I know you said, how important our volunteers and our foster families are, but I really want to emphasize that we couldn't do what we do without them. So, I'd like to share another story about a dog named Lulu, whose experience really, again, illustrates the combined importance of helping strays and getting them to MHS for a second chance. And it really highlights how important our foster program is. So here's the story of Lulu.
Meet Lulu, a 5-month-old rescue puppy. At 6 weeks old, she was found as a stray in Louisiana on a busy roadway at a dumpster scrounging for food in the pouring rain. Lulu was alone, skinny, and starving at the time. Luckily for Lulu, the Monadnock Humane Society works with rescue organizations from all over the country to bring pets from overpopulated areas to our area where they can find a home. Lulu was part of a transport of these pets. Once here, a caring foster family volunteered to take her in. Monadnock Humane Society has many foster families who have stepped up to provide quality animal care during this COVID crisis. Lulu's story has a happy ending. Her foster family adopted her at the beginning of May, and they look forward to many adventures with her ahead.
Can you believe that? Now, Lulu, I think, really lucked out, and we're really proud to be part of what it took to make that happen. And we couldn't be more grateful for that positive outcome. So want to wish the best to Lulu and her family. So the next fund I want to talk about is a new fund. It's our anti-cruelty fund. Now, this is a brand new Fund a Need program, and it targets animal cruelty. As many of you know, since our founding 145 years ago, MHS has been heavily involved in animal advocacy and legislation. As a matter of fact, our founder, Jenny B. Powers, was a Humane Society agent and a deputy sheriff who fought animal cruelty and family violence and poverty in New Hampshire more than a century ago. So to tell us a little bit more about this kind of work, I want to introduce a special guest, and that's Lindsay Hamrick from HSUS, and that's the Humane Society of the United States. So here to tell us more is Lindsay.
My name is Lindsay Hamrick with the Humane Society of the United States, and I've been involved with MHS in different forms since 2006. And this organization is such a gem in the Monadnock region. Not only are they a safe place for animals, but they also serve as a safety net for families that are in transition or going through hardship. And while MHS really strives to keep pets and people together whenever possible, occasionally animals need to be rescued from cruelty and neglect. In the summer of 2017, MHS assisted law enforcement with a cruelty case that involved some cats and dogs. And one of the dogs that was rescued was an approximately 16-year-old golden retriever named Einstein. On the day of the rescue, he could barely walk. He had really severe skin and ear infections. And despite his age and medical condition, the staff at MHS were able to treat him and get him comfortable. And then he came to live here as a hospice foster dog. And I'm happy to say that he lived another 6 months here in our house, which was not nearly enough time, but we're just so pleased that we were able to keep him comfortable and give him a life with other dogs and a cat, and he even helped to raise an orphaned lamb. In my day job, I work to strengthen animal cruelty laws, and MHS has been such a strong voice for animals at the State House in Concord. And while we still have work to do, nonprofit animal shelters like MHS are stuck with the bill when cruelty cases happen. We also have come such a long way, and we had some really sweeping reform that was signed into law last year, and that was in no small part to the advocacy from MHS. I just can't say enough good things about this organization. Thanks.
Lindsay, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you taking some time to join us this evening. So, in recognition of this really critical work of targeting animal cruelty, we have a special challenge for everyone. And this work is so important to my wife Sharon and I that we decided to start a dedicated fund just for this, and it's the Ratchford Family Anti-Cruelty Fund. We're calling it that because animals are such an important part of our family, and I'm sure all of yours as well. So to help see this, we're offering a donation match of $5,000. And if you donate right now, your contribution is going to go twice as far. We're going to match it dollar for dollar. So please join us in the fight against animal cruelty and go to your donate button and please give generously if you can. So I want to thank you for that. And Kathy, can you please tell us some more?
I certainly can, Wes. And many of you may recall the lab cruelty case that we faced back in 2017. Hunter here is one of the labs that came out of that situation. He was 6 weeks old at the time, found in a bathtub with his litter mates who had never been let out of the bathtub in his first 6 weeks of life. And so, as you can imagine, a cruelty fund is incredible. That was the largest cruelty case in our 145-year history. So I personally want to thank you so much for starting this fund for Monadnock Humane Society and for years to come, Wes and Sharon. This is incredible. And animal advocacy and legislation has always been a big part of our work. As you mentioned, our board and staff have personally taken time to write to legislators, testify in the State House, even Concord themselves, and it's been amazing. The incredible costs that pile up are really, honestly, if you imagine a cruelty case, it's typically related to the medical costs and length of stay. So if you in the lab case, for example, they were with us for 16 months, and the cost related to that is staggering. So that's a biggest part of our problem. But in addition to that, we are in need of personal protective equipment for our staff who are entering into deplorable conditions in the home, and as well as staff training and some of the specialized supplies that we need during the investigations, like evidence kits. These are all very vital for the success of a case like that. And we work with local law enforcement and animal control officers to go into these situations to assess the animals' medical health and potentially remove them from the home if necessary. We work with 44 towns, so it is a huge need. And at this time, you just met Hunter, but I'd like to introduce another lab that came out of the cat case, and that is Benny.
Benny is a 5-year-old lab who came through Monadnock Humane Society's doors in very poor condition. He was part of a large group of dogs seized in a local law enforcement case. When he came to us, his fear and anxiety were very high. He also had serious digestive problems and a hereditary condition that worsened and ultimately required specialized surgery to remove both of his eyes. Although you wouldn't realize it watching him in this video, Benny is completely blind. The good news is that MHS gave him the best possible care and made certain he was placed in a loving home with owners who were skilled with special needs dogs. Even though Benny lost his sight, he has learned all about how to be a great dog, to play with a ball, and to retrieve using a water toy that makes noise. Benny has 4 other dog siblings and is now a healthy, well-cared-for pup. He has his happily ever after, just as he always deserved.
I love that. Benny's amazing, and you'd never know he's blind. He gets around great, and I know he's got an awesome life now, and we're really, really grateful to his family for giving that great gift to him.
Absolutely. It's incredible to see what he can do completely blind. His parents have worked wonders with him, and working with the community to build awareness. A donation to this initiative will support our work as we work together with the towns we serve to save animals from these terrible situations and help us provide care for them until we can place them into a loving home. So thank you in advance for anybody who's able to help us out with this fund, this brand new fund.
Absolutely. Please, thank you.
I'm Sean McDonald with WMUR TV, and I hope you're having fun at the Hair Ball at home. As long as you're not finding a hairball on the rug, it's a good time, right? The Monadnock Humane Society cares for over 1,600 animals each year, from veterinary services all the way to adoption and a number of services in between, as you know. It is a wonderful organization, and I hope that you'll consider donating to this organization to keep these services going for our furry friends, and of course, to help them find forever homes. I can tell you that we have 2 rescue cats here in the McDonald household, and it's brought us a lot of joy to our family.
So as we close our evening, I want to thank you so much for your support for the work that we do. We're grateful that you've gone on this journey with us. We are the only organization that provides services like this in the region, and we get no state or federal funding. We rely entirely on the grants that we write, as well as private donations. So we couldn't do it without you. We will emerge from this crisis stronger and better than ever, thanks to you. And I want you to all please stay safe.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Kathy. And before we wrap up, I want you to please look closely at your screen. You're going to see the results of our 50-50 raffle and the winners of our silent auction. So I want to offer congratulations to all of our winners, and I want to thank you for participating. And just a special personal note, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this very special Hairball at Home. These are really unique circumstances, and we really appreciate you joining us. So I want to offer a toast. If you have a glass, please get it, and please raise it. I want to toast to health and to happiness and to a happy 145th birthday to MHS and many, many more years of everyone in our community working together to strengthen the animal-human bond. Cheers. So now we've got time for one more happy tale before we go, and this is the story of Bella's Happily Ever After. Thank you.
This is the story of Bella's Happily Ever After. Bella is an adorable Beagle Bulldog mix who was surrendered to MHS. She was shy and needed to be in a single pet family with older children. Bella became part of the program Operation No Pet Left Behind, where volunteers work tirelessly to help hard-to-adopt pets get noticed by potential adopters. They bring extra attention to these animals through walks in the community and through the use of social media. Eventually, Bella began to come out of her shell. She affectionately became known as Wigglebutt because her little nub tail would wag so hard when she met people. Over a period of a few months, Bella could be seen everywhere in the community. She was also featured on WMUR's Adopt This Pet segment. She had become something of a local celebrity. One day, a kind soul named Thomas met Bella during one of her outings and fell in love. He adopted her and now they're inseparable. They enjoy car rides, hikes in the woods, and relaxing at home together. Thomas calls her the best dog ever, and we couldn't agree more. This is the kind of work that MHS does and that you can support. Thank you to Thomas for adopting Bella into her forever home, and thanks to all of you for making MHS possible.
Hey everyone, it's Franklin here. I'd just like to thank everyone for supporting MHS.